You know, Mark, you know how some people have a going out wardrobe? Mine is mostly activewear. That's true. I work out in it. I run errands in it. I travel in it. You name it. And lately it's been all Fabletics.
Yep, me too, Dan. Personally, I started with their high-waisted leggings and a cropped hoodie. And honestly, I didn't expect to love them as much as I do. The leggings don't roll down even during a workout, and the fabric feels way more premium than what I paid for.
Wow, the high-waisted leggings you went with, Mark.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
And the best part, when I signed up as a new VIP, I got 80% off everything, which already felt like a steal. But the quality really surprised me. These pieces feel like, they feel like the kind of high-end activewear that you'd pay $200 for, but at a fraction of the price. And the joggers, they actually keep their shape after a full day of errands or even a long flight. I like wearing the joggers on a long flight. Some people are like, put a suit on. As I calm down, I'm about comfort. It also helps knowing that Fabletics has a community of over 2 million VIP members and more than 100 retail stores.
You are about comfort. It's one of those brands that, once you try it, you get it. The comfort, the fit, the value. Honestly, I didn't realize how much I'd wear Fabletics until I tried it. Now it's basically my everyday gear.
Fabletics already has amazing deals, but right now they're running their biggest sale of the year on top of that. Perfect timing with the holidays. And I've got an exclusive offer just for you, 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP.
Head to fabletics.com/HTC and sign up as a VIP to get 80% off everything. That's right. This is only available through our link. So go to fabletics.com/HTC to sign up as a VIP and get 80% off. That's fabletics.com/HTC.
Did you know, Mark, your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value.
That's right. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight into your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards.
A Bitcoin bonus. That is what I need in my life. So I guess I have to visit Gemini.com/card today. If you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
Issued by WebBank. To qualify for the $200 crypto intro bonus, you must spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. Some exclusions to instant rewards apply. This is not investment advice, and trading crypto involves risk. Check Gemini's website for more details on rates and fees.
I mean, we needed a stop. They got it. The boys just played their butts off, man. So for us to be able to just have each other's back, offense, defense, special teams, to go down the wire like that at the end of the year, man, there's nothing better.
Hello. Welcome to Heed the Call, an NFL podcast. I am Dan Hanzus, joined by Marc Sessler, Justin Graver on the ones and twos. Conor Orr jumping on with us in just a bit. And Sessy, we're going to get into all of the Week 17 action on the flagship show. Often imitated, never duplicated. And we will start with, once again, another game in the running for Contest of the Year. That being 49ers 42. Bears 38 at the Big Bell Bottom. Whoa.
This season is wild. I mean, we've covered probably, 12, 13 seasons together. It's individual games, it's moments, it's teams, it's new faces. But I thought tonight, this game was at the height of offensive strategy and creative exuberance, just like the creation of offense and how to play against each other and how to go back and forth between a team that we've known for a long time in the Niners and a team that is very new to us with new faces in the Bears. It just was a wild watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say it. I feel like the hire of Ben Johnson is the most consequential head coach hire we've had in multiple years, several years. Man, if you want to make it nice and neat, since Kyle Shanahan got the job in San Francisco. Yes. I mean, this guy has transformed the Bears. And I'll tell you, and we're talking about that after they lost the game, losing the game on a final play at the end of regulation from inside the 5-yard line that goes incomplete. And I have so much respect for Ben Johnson, what he did with the Lions. We're going to get to the Lions and what's happened to them without Ben Johnson, now to what he's done for the Chicago Bears. And I think this is the highest compliment I could pay him in a game that was back and forth, 14-14, 21-21, 28-28, 35-35. The Bears jump ahead. The Niners scored late. And now here's Chicago coming down the field. And they get to that. They're knocking on the door. They have one play. And NBC cuts to the sideline shot of Ben Johnson, not even hesitating as he's looking at his play sheet. And he is dialing something up into Caleb Williams' ear. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching it next to my son Harrison and my wife, I'm saying, there's no way this play doesn't work. He knows exactly what he's going to call. And the Niners, who have had no answers all day, are screwed right now. And it might, maybe because I had locked the 49ers as well, I was feeling a little extra pessimistic. Thank you, Conor Orr, by the way. We'll talk about that later. So the fact that the Niners actually stopped him, I was stunned that the play didn't work, and it was the San Francisco's defense did a great job in coverage, and also getting the pass rush and putting in Caleb in a situation where he had to kind of just run for his life and then throw it incomplete. But like, that's a credit to Ben Johnson that I was stunned he didn't cook something up that was an easy walk-in touchdown, because that's how much he has the Bears offense cooking. So to see a game like this, Sessy, where Kyle Shanahan and the Niners offense, which is running at a level maybe we've never seen the Kyle Shanahan offense run lately, right? That the Chicago fucking Bears are able to go punch for punch to the last play of the game. That is incredible, and another outstanding subplot in what has been a completely unpredictable NFL season.
That's new. I love that you were sitting with your son, because he's going to be experiencing Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson for the next 15 years, potentially. Like, it's going to change what football fans feel about the Bears and this entire thing. And, you know, Kyle Shanahan, like, they lost tonight, but Kyle Shanahan has lost some of the more excruciating, well-coached games in NFL history over the last 15 years. So it's like, this is what happens. It's a firestorm. These were like two French painters sitting on a hill, trying to create the better picture, and we'll judge in history who's the better one. But I just see the growth between in the relationship, because Caleb Williams had quotes this week that, like, he didn't even know if his coach liked him in training camp. But I think we know from some inside sources that Ben Johnson's a bit of a psycho.
Right.
And I think that you need to be a bit of a psycho, and the Bears have a psycho at running their offense and running their team. And like, they're not just a come from behind team. I think they've been tagged with, like, they're the cardiac Bears. I get that. But they went punch for punch tonight against a Niners team that I think we kind of forgot about a little bit this season, right? Because Brock Purdy was insane this evening. He's accounted for 10 touchdowns in 2 weeks. The Niners are playing at a level where it's like, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go right back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and remember, this game starts legitimately, like, no exaggeration, the first play of the game, Brock Purdy drops back to pass and is intercepted, and it's taken in for a touchdown.
The wrong kind of touchdown.
Yeah, Chicago is immediately ahead in this game, but I believe it was 6 of the next 9 drives for the 49ers then ended in touchdowns. Not field goals, touchdowns, including the game winner to Juwan Jennings in late in the fourth quarter that preceded that goal line stand by the San Francisco defense. I think that's the question for both these teams, right? Like, because you're right about the Bears in that this cardiac Bears thing. Usually with those type of teams, they're not actually great teams. They're just have it like one of those seasons. I could think of the 2000 as an old head. The 2001 Bears had a season where they had a ton of like pick sixes and punt returns.
Yeah, like a Lovie Smith defensive oriented turnover team. Yeah,
like I think about the 2000. What would it have been? The 2010 Tim Tebow Broncos. Whereas like this team's not good, but they have a flair for the dramatic, and there's just something special cooking. But the Bears are a more dangerous breed of that type of team where they're actually good. And sometimes they put themselves in holes, and a part of that reason is their defense maybe is not where it needs to be. But they absolutely have what it takes with this play caller and this young rising quarterback and this offense to make big time news in January. The question for both these teams is the defense. We knew the Niners, once they lost Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, this was not going to be easy, and they were going to have to outscore their limitations on defense. It worked today. Will it work throughout a January into a February? We'll see. The same thing can be said for the Bears, who, you know, the Packers made it into the red zone last week 5 times and didn't score a single touchdown. But this was a totally different situation. The Niners had 32 first downs. They had 6 touchdowns in the game. They can't stop the run. Christian McCaffrey went off. They allowed almost 6 yards per carry. They couldn't get to the quarterback. And when they got to Purdy was able to escape, and he ran for 2 touchdowns in addition to the 3 touchdown passes. So the question is, we know Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and that offense is ready to go. Can Chicago give enough of an all-around effort to be a true Super Bowl contender? That's what I take out of this game. Amazing offenses that can win shootouts, but to win a Super Bowl, there's got to be more balance. Can these teams put it together against the best teams in the league?
Yeah, I think you said it well, because you can't ask the offense to do that every single game. But I do think that it kind of feels like you made this analogy the other week, like father versus son on driveway basketball court, where like the Niners were getting the best out of players that there was no George Kittle tonight. That's another note, but like we're getting the best out of players that we've seen for a long time. Where for Chicago, it's like Colston Loveland, it's Luther Burden, it's a quarterback that's like transformed over the last 2 months of play, and a coach that we didn't know that much about a year ago. It's like, it's different, and the NFC is wild and weird, and because of it, and the playoffs are wild and weird because of it. And like, I'm thrilled to see the Niners not kind of be a fading dinosaur that wins 11 games but has no threat. They are potent right now. I mean, what they got out of Christian McCaffrey tonight was like, I think it was his first or second best game of the season. And he is dominant, and he was injured and not playing. He was not healthy, and he's still doing this. Like, they could do anything. I think this just creates a January that is very special and unusual for us as fans.
And I still can't believe they won. I can't
either. I thought it was definitely going to go the other way.
It seemed like Chicago, it was absolutely going to end with a touchdown. And
that last play was crazy.
Yeah, and Ben Johnson, whatever he drew up, he must have felt confident about that play. And San Francisco, after just being dreadful all game long, was able to put it together for one play, the biggest play of the game. So what does it mean? It means the Bears cannot get the first seed in the NFC. They're eliminated from that conversation, but they can still get as high as 2, if I'm not mistaken. Justin,
they can get 2 with a win or an Eagles loss.
Yeah, the Eagles and Bears are both in play for the second seed. It means the Seattle Seahawks are still where they are, and we'll get to the Seahawks later. But if the Seahawks win in week 18, they have the number 1 seed. But the door is open now for the 49ers to get the number 1 seed with a win combined with the Seahawks loss in week 18. And they play each other. So there you go. So that it doesn't get much better than that. And when will they play? They released a schedule. Tirico lives for this shit.
I know. He loves to do this.
You could hear it in his
voice. Little trumpet,
Yeah. Saturday. Interesting the way they did the schedule here. And this is the last thing we'll talk about before we throw to the rest of the week, take a break, and then welcome in Connor. But we had the Panthers-Bucks contest, which may or may not decide the NFC South. That will be 4:30 Eastern on ESPN Saturday, followed by 8 p.m. Eastern, Seahawks-Niners Saturday night, also on ESPN. So they slide that game in there. And then the Sunday night football game is indeed they always like to have a win and in, essentially a play-in game when they can, and that's what they have between the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers in Pittsburgh in what could be Aaron Rodgers' final game as well. Maybe Lamar Jackson's in that game if he can make it onto the field. We'll see. But that sets up very well for the end of the season. Otherwise, there's not a lot of juice in terms of teams vying for the playoff spots in each conference. It's a lot of jockeying, but that game, obviously, the loser is out between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and the winner moves on to wild card round.
Well, I do think it means we get one of the weirder wild card weeks that we've seen. So I'm okay with week 18 being a little bit muted. They did a nice job with the schedule here. I wrote next to Baltimore, Pittsburgh, OBS. Isn't that a term, Justin? OBVS, just like obviously.
Yeah,
OBS.
that is a shorthand
The resident
term.
millennial chimes in with the confirmation.
Yeah.
Good job, Mark.
Thank
That's
you.
correct.
Thank you.
Way to go, Uncle Mark. All right.
Well,
There we go. What a game. And that's just the start. Let's take a break. When we get back, Sessy's theme of the week, and then all of the week 17 action. Stay right there. All right, we are back. Sunday Night Football in the rear view. Now we dig into the rest of week 17. And before we get any deeper into this Sunday, we must do what we always do, per tradition, 2025 style. The theme of the week presented by Marc Sessler. Sessy, there was some buzz, there was some criticism out there, some controversy around your themes. And so that makes this a pivotal theme of the week in more ways than one.
I keep nailing these, so let's see if the streak continues here. The theme of the week for the second to last Sunday of the regular season is penultimate is 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bang.
We're back, baby. All right, Connor, what do you think?
Very clear. This is vintage Mark, night out in the town on Hollywood. He's got his A outfit on and he's ready to go. Pants off.
Yep. I definitely agree that there's an element of that to it. Beyond that, though, I'm kind of stumped, to be honest with you. I just like the energy of it. So, Mark, can you explain it?
Yeah, I think it's like I think we all understand. First of all, the NFL put mothers and fathers and fans in general like through a lot over the last 4 or 5 days when you're trying to handle a holiday and there's like 600 games on it. It's like, we see each other unclothed now. You see me, I see you. Time and Earth has brought us to this moment in time in the season. It's a pivotal time.
Oh, okay, I got you.
We're not going back anymore. History now is when history for this season, the stuff that we'll remember about this season, begins now.
So a little bit in the a little more carnal than even I realized, considering it's Let's Bang. But yeah, we're in the final stages of foreplay, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good stuff. We are flying. Week
I like
17.
to put Justin in a place where then when he has to title the episode, he's like, how do I do that? So.
Let's Bang is going to be, maybe go She Bangs, like the Ricky Martin song, just so it makes it a little more difficult to discern. It's not quite so distasteful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could always probably go a little more less distasteful, I think. So yes.
No, we like
Less
what you did this week.
Yeah,
we like what you did this week. Let's leave it on Justin and the censors out there to figure out, and let's try to figure out what happened in Buffalo. A huge game with big ramifications in Orchard Park. Let's get into it. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not going to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. They were blocked going into Week 17 from that path. But they can continue to build momentum toward a hopeful, for them and the people of Philadelphia, successful defense of their Super Bowl title. And they took another step in the right direction on Sunday with a 13-12 win over the Bills, a game that Philly dominated for the better part of 3 quarters before the Bills did what the Bills tend to do, mount a big comeback, 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, both runs from in close by Josh Allen, but a blocked PAT by Jalen Carter led to the Bills' decision to go for it in the final seconds, go for 2, I should say, and Josh Allen yanks the throw, missing an open receiver in the back of the end zone. It is the difference, and another crushing loss for the Bills, who, Mark, by virtue of that loss, hand the AFC East to the New England Patriots. The Bills will be a wild card team, a crushing loss for Buffalo, but both teams will go to the playoffs.
It is, because from where they stand at the moment, like it's like they were stationed to play probably the winner of the AFC North, which would be a delightful postseason option there. But
maybe,
that's not
right?
the case.
But this year, like, can we assume anything in the season at this point? What's a good matchup? What's a bad matchup? Except for the team that's going to be playing the NFC South, and even that, I don't know. I don't know if I can go there. But go on. As
no, things are wild. I think you nailed it in the opening there, because the two of the biggest plays in the game came after Bills touchdowns. That might have been, by Jalen Carter, the biggest blocked PAT, dissected PAT of the year, and then the 2-point conversion. And I guess I'm left wondering if the Bills had to go for that 2-point conversion. I know that it's sacrilegious to suggest they wouldn't in 2025, but it's a chance. You're taking a chance there. That's the game.
What do you think, Connor?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because the Eagles' defense was clearly gassed, and you started to score. You scored twice in a row, and that was a result of Philly having four 3-and-outs, and then a 5-play drive. I think that 19 total yards in the second half. So that defense was on the field constantly. And so if you're Buffalo, right, you kick the extra point, you take the ball, and then you go right back down the field and you do it again. But I also wonder, if you're McDermott, are you thinking about the fact that, like, hey, it doesn't really matter, like, whatever, the Patriots won earlier that day, like, I'm probably not getting the number 1 seed at this point, and why don't I just rest my guys, not put them through another overtime period, rest them in week 18, and try to hit a hard reset on this before we get to the playoffs?
I don't know, man. Like, I thought it was interesting that that Tom Brady was so certain they were going to go for 2, and then McDermott did not hesitate before even they scored the touchdown that preceded the decision. That he was calling for 2, letting his offense know. They completely shut down the Eagles' offense in the second half. They forced four straight 3-and-outs in the second half and limited Philadelphia to 16 net yards. Now, I understand you have to understand the game script within that. The Eagles had clearly made a decision, because their defense was playing so incredibly well, that we are going to put this game in the hands of Fangio and his talented unit and let them take us home, which, again, like, the Eagles are such a hard team to figure out, because that was such a conservative way to go about closing out the Bills. When Josh Allen, even on a day where he seems banged up with that foot injury, and keep an eye on that foot injury, he's still Josh Allen. And this is still the most resilient team in the league. Like, I kind of want to see my team, if I'm an Eagles fan, I want to see my team really put the pedal to the metal and put this team to bed. But instead, they left the door open. Even on their last possession, they ran it twice into the line and then threw an incomplete pass. And it was just like, it was very clear that they had made a decision that they weren't going to trust the offense to close out the game. They were going to trust the defense. And I guess it worked here, but really only because Josh Allen blew the game. Right. You got to be real. Like, when you're talking about the reigning MVP, missing a open receiver, and that's NFL wide open, and he was moving to his left, and he kind of yanked the ball, and it wasn't even close, but he's open in the back of the end zone. So as much as I could say, I think Sean McDermott probably should have kicked the extra point, and trusted his defense, which was balling out. I also understand, like, sometimes your guy just has to make the play, and Allen didn't make the play, so that's a very difficult loss for the Bills to handle. And for Josh Allen, now that they are not the division winner, it's a really difficult path to get back to the Super Bowl. I thought it was a terrible loss for the Bills, and I know the Patriots are probably going to win the division anyway, but essentially handing it to them in this way had to be tough.
You trust that Josh Allen makes that play 9 out of 10 times, right? Like, that's why this is the quarterback, this is the center, the epicenter of your entire offense. It didn't happen there, but to your Eagles point, I don't think they can put the pedal to the metal. Like, this was a Vic Fangio, like, masterwork, especially in the first half, because it's like each team switched which defense was going to dominate, and they were dominant over Buffalo in the first half. And it is a weather game, right? I mean, I don't know if I've seen a rain game like that this entire season, and that changes things. But it was just a Vic Fangio fever dream, and it kept that team in it. And it's like, I don't trust that offense to suddenly hit the playoffs and be any different than they are right now. It's not a great Bills defense. It's an okay Bills defense, and that it didn't look like that today.
This is going to sound like bending over backwards for Allen, and maybe it is a little bit, but is there any criticism towards the play call itself? Because again, you have these exhausting, frantic drives that are happening back to back, and then we're asking him to make a touch throw into the corner of the end zone, which again was wide open, and any NFL quarterback is going to do that, but only about 2 or 3 NFL quarterbacks are asked to do what Josh Allen is asked to do over the course of a game. Do you maybe make it a simpler concept for him, or put the ball in his hands and roll him out and give him a running option there? I don't know.
Yeah, or do you run him? Do you just slam him up the middle?
Here's Sean McDermott on the decision to go for it.
Want to be aggressive, going for the win. We feel like, only a certain amount of time left at that point, and I felt like we had a great call, great opportunity to go win it, and I'm going to be aggressive, so I'm not going to sit back. I trust Josh Allen with the ball in his hands, and I'd do it over again.
Yeah, and that's the other part of it. If you're thinking from McDermott's perspective, he's like, in his mind, I have the best player in the league. He's got the ball in his hands. I'm going to take my chances. I just like this now is going to be a credit to the Eagles defense, Connor, though. It's like it was hard to get into that end zone all game. Brady made a big point, a good point, referring to the Jalen Carter blocked extra point, that when the Bills finally got in for their first touchdown midway through the fourth quarter, and that was tough to do, they blocked the PAT because the Eagles defense, especially when it's motivated and locked in, doesn't give up anything. They don't surrender anything without making you earn it. And that PAT block, which ended up being the difference, was such a good sign of that. Even on the play that preceded the touchdown, when Allen hits, I think it was Dawson Knox, inside the 5-yard line, and it seems like he has a clear path to the end zone. He gets dragged down at the 1.5 yard line, and they have to essentially, with the game on the line, one play wins or loses the game. They sneak it with Allen into the end zone. So I don't know. It's just like, again, the Eagles defense played so well in this game that converting that 2-point conversion felt like a little less than a coin flip to me. And the way the defense is playing, I would have liked to see the Bills play it a different way. It didn't work out, and that's just the way it goes. But very, very disappointing. Very
much less a coin flip. They were 1 of 6 on 2-point conversion attempts this year, I think. So I think that there's maybe larger issues with your performance in that area from the 2 yard, like what kind of play calls do you have and all that. But you're right. I mean, this was a Super Bowl caliber performance from the Eagles defense. And if you could get that first half offense carryover, I mean, this is the team that we saw throughout the playoffs last year.
Is part of the issue. And it's not like the Bills they could probably beat anyone on the right Sunday. Like, I'm willing to say that. But in that 2-point moment, in that season defining moment against the Eagles, like, who is the obvious target? If it's not Josh Allen, it's like you're reviving the career of Brandon Cooks in this game. Like, is Khalil Shakir like the absolute right person to have on that play? It's like your 2 best players are James Cook and Josh Allen. And it's like you have a limited cast, I think, of wide receivers in terms of a pure talent in that position. I just think that, will this catch up to the Bills again? Like, are they weeks away from this happening again?
And we do have time to talk about that, but I think it will. I kind of think they needed to find a way to win this division. And after they beat the Patriots a couple weeks back and it seemed wide open again, you thought that they might, but I don't know. Like, they've had too many of these heartbreaking losses that, for me, and it's going to be a difficult road through the AFC with some really good teams or, dangerous teams, to be on the road and have to win 3 times. I think it's gearing up for more heartache for the people of Western New York. They have one more game at home. Sean McDermott said after the game, because it's the last game at Old Rich Stadium, they want to play the game in the way that, I guess, respects the structure, the concrete game and the steel, and, like, I don't know, the security guards. I don't know. I don't know what any of that shit means, but I'd be very careful about that. Jalen Hurts in the second half of the win. 0 for 7, 1 sack for -2 yards, 1 rush for 2 yards. And when you get a net of 0 yards for an entire half and you still win, that's pretty fortunate for the Eagles, and what a waste of an opportunity for the Bills, who've had several heartbreakers this season. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, no. Sassy.
Well, I'm you know, like
Sassy.
a lot of things did not go the way of Mark on this Sunday, which I'm not, it's not an unusual scenario, but like I kind of forgot. I did literally forget that I locked the Bills until late in this game. And I was just like, what am I doing? What direction have I taken as an adult?
I don't know why you did it. I was aware of it because I stood up, and this thing, I love football. I love it, right? When the last play is happening, they're lining up for the 2-point conversion. I'm on my feet. I'm watching it. It did flash through my mind that Mark locked the Bills, and I'm like, oh, this probably isn't going to end well.
It did not end well.
All right. We'll see how the rest of us did this week. All right. To Charlotte. Let's head there for another game with big implications. The Seattle Seahawks. You know their situation. They win out, and they are the number 1 seed in the NFC. And they held up their end of the bargain on Sunday in Charlotte, going down there and taking care of business, 27-10 over the Panthers, who could have clinched the wretched, woebegone, moribund NFC South with a win, but instead that gets pushed another week. As for the Seahawks, they improved to 13-3. Sam Darnold was okay, good enough. Zach Charbonnet had another big game with 2 touchdowns and over 110 yards on the ground, and Seattle pulls away in the second half. Connor, workmanlike victory for the Seattle Seahawks, and yeah, just in case anybody was wondering how an NFC South team would fare against a big dog, you kind of got your answer, right?
I guess. I mean, this was a 3-3 game at the half, and Sam Darnold threw a ball like right into J.C. Horn's chest that he dropped.
A couple of those.
And yeah, I mean, he was not good. I thought this was one of Evero's better games as the Panthers defensive coordinator. He had Darnold looking so uncomfortable in the early portions of this game. So yes, it was kind of a tale of two issues here because Carolina's defense played really well. They kept their thumb on Seattle, but it was just some of those sequences in the second half. Interception, a fumble, turnover on downs that ended up costing Carolina. I mean, Bryce Young had 54 passing yards in this game. So it's not enough to get it done, you know?
And he's been akin to late game comebacks. And you mentioned, Connor, his post benching numbers in general have been pretty fantastic. And so it's a little bit of an underwhelming performance for their offense. But I was watching this, and at one point they said that with like 4 minutes left in the third quarter, Carolina's longest pass was 8 yards.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks to me that like the special unit in this game is Seattle's defense, which can save a lesser performance by their offense. But I'll tell you what, I do think Sam Darnold, like I know everyone's waiting for the other shoe to drop, if that's what they say in the fairy tale. But like, here's the thing, like I think he's resilient. Like he overcomes some of these unfriendly quarters more than he did a year ago. This is not the last 2 games from last season. Like I just see someone that's been through it and is going to get them through it, but it's their defense that's going to carry them.
I think it was, are you thinking of the glass slipper and the pumpkin?
I believe so, but I'm a little I should be better versed with the princess, the things that the princesses are doing.
Like, I don't want to take away from, Seattle's defense. And we already know, we've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks, that we believe that Seahawks are a big-time Super Bowl contender. So maybe they're just that good. But the Panthers at home, again, a chance to win the division, and you have 139 yards? Like, 139 yards, Bryce Young, this has got to be... I don't know what Brosmer's yards per attempt was against the Seahawks, but
well, they weren't great.
Bryce Young, 2.3 yards per attempt in this game, in addition to the 54 yards passing, no touchdowns, and interception. The running game, Rico Dowdle actually ran the ball pretty well, but once they fell behind, they had to go to a different path on this. But Yeah, like that's a no-show on offense. And I don't know, do you give more credit to the Seattle side on that, Connor, or is this did you see Carolina kind of get exposed as well here?
Well, I think what's so impressive about Seattle is not only, I mean, Mark, you mentioned Darnold overcoming, but it's the fact that really over the last month, teams have played them really well in the first half, and they seem to have been able to kind of get Smith and Jigba out of the game plan. They've been able to have success in that regard against Seattle, but they always end up getting back to it. And it's such a quirky team because I think they said the stat in the broadcast, they're one of the worst teams in the NFL in like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, because they're so system dependent. So when they get into a spot where Darnold just has to drop back and pass, it doesn't normally go very well. But I've never seen a team, and this is true even of like Kyle Shanahan, where they end up finding their system again at the end of the game. They end up finding the flow of that offense and how it's supposed to come together. It really is something to watch. I think that they're, like you said, Mark, resilient, which matters.
Can I ask you one question? Because there was a moment in this, and I'm not trying to cast a cynical viewpoint, but Jackson Smith and Jigba there was a face mask on him.
Yes.
And it was a clear face mask, but the flag, it took a couple seconds for the flag to emerge, but he ran to the center of the field and collapsed. And what I thought was a bit of theatrics that I admired, that was like, oh, you're hurt on top of it, you've been affected. Maybe he was, but do you know what I mean? And did that seem a little theatrical?
So that was a huge part of this game. Carolina had come back and they had scored to make it 17-10, and everyone was on their feet at that point. And then it was, I think they had them in something like an obnoxiously long, it was like 3rd and 30 or 3rd and 25 or something like that. And that's when that play occurred. And all of a sudden you touch the face mask. And I mean, again, like we've literally seen Darnold's ear hole get rearranged and that not be called. And this was, I would say, closer to gentle tap territory, but it had a massive effect on it. Like the Darnold picks. If it goes another way, we might be talking about a very weird and very special Panthers upset.
I mean, the Panthers are up, or the Seahawks are up to 28 turnovers on the season now. Almost every team in this very weird and wacky NFL season has what you could label as a fatal flaw. It is Seattle's proclivity to turn the ball over that could haunt it. And even that, Darnold threw an immediate interception in this game. Then he almost had another on the second possession. It's just like one of those games with Darnold where the ball seems to be getting deflected and people get opportunities to make plays. And sometimes teams make the most of those opportunities. Sometimes, like this game, not as much. But at the end of the day, I know some people are going to want to poke at this from different directions, but I'm only speaking facts, that Sam Darnold led NFL football teams over the past 2 regular seasons, 27-6. He's the quarterback of those 2 teams. Now, we'll see how he does in the playoffs this year. Hopefully better than what happened at the end of last year, but 27-6.
Wow. It's like Joe Montana-esque
and
record-wise.
And how bad is the NFC South? The Panthers get the Bucs in Week 18. They have a 1-game lead right now. They can lose that game and finish 8-9 and still win the NFC South at 8-9 over the Bucs on tiebreaker. And yes, the Falcons can also get to 8-9, but they're out. But their result in Week 18, as I understand it, I don't even like to think about the NFC South this much, to be honest, guys, can affect how the tiebreaker breaks down. So,
and to your point, I believe since 2014 there have been 3 NFC South teams that have made the playoffs with losing division winners that have made the playoffs with losing records. I think we've suffered through some of those. So
unbelievable. Yeah, I think you're right. It was, if the Falcons get to 8-9, they force a 3-way tiebreaker, which gives Carolina the head-to-head over common opponents. So
thrilling. All right, so the Panthers lost. That meant the Bucs had an opportunity to rearrange some things, and I guess we kind of spoiled it with this conversation, but let's talk about it anyway. What's going on with the Bucs? Your Bucs, Sessy. What a disgrace. Holy cow. Yeah, we know the Miami Dolphins, Connor's Miami Dolphins, haven't been a total pushover down the stretch this season, but still, the Bucs, who have been in a free fall now for weeks and weeks, had a chance to get things right and maybe even take control of the NFC South. Instead, it's more of the same. Baker Mayfield threw 2 interceptions. Quinn Ewers played better, more efficient football for the Dolphins, and they edged the Bucs 20-17. Sessy, what happened in this one?
A complete and total visual collapse. This frustrated me. As I said, today did not go the way that Mark wanted on multiple levels. But I am willing to let the Bucs float away at this point. It feels like when you were young and you maybe had like a long distance relationship with someone and it just kind of died. And it wasn't like there's a real reason for it, but it just died. And that's what the Bucs feel like to me. You've just kind of died on us this season. They are, since their bye, 1-8. They have fallen apart on both sides of the ball. And it's the offense, sure. It's not Baker Mayfield entirely. It's not been healthy at times. We get that. The defense is so willing to be run over and run through. And the Dolphins, which they do run the ball well, did that again to them today. Just a completely disappointing performance by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's like this game was in reach. And you are playing Quinn Ewers, and Quinn Ewers played pretty well, but I think you're thinking like this should be our doorway in a division that's extremely winnable with a massive matchup a week from now to have our healthy roster show up. Instead, to me, they look like 1/3 of the team that performed heroically with players all over the place on injured reserve or off the roster. They look like they almost have a lesser roster healthy. It was so frustrating to watch this team. I don't know what you do with the coaching staff. I think it leaves questions about the quarterback.
I know what you do with the coaching staff. They got to go.
Maybe they do.
Come on.
Maybe they do.
Maybe I think you're going to run back Todd Bowles after the way this season has ended, regardless of how next week goes. I mean, this team has hit a wall. And
I'm trying to think of a bigger collapse in the last couple of years. I know we could historically find one. This is a massive collapse of a quarterback that we thought was an MVP candidate and a team that I thought was an NFC title game candidate. They look like they don't want it. They looked asleep to me, and they fell apart against a Dolphins team that we thought shut down 3 weeks ago in an absolute Florida embarrassment.
I like when Sessler gets mad about his Baker. They're one of these teams that I feel like there were some excuses made for them about injuries and things of that. And then they got healthier, much more healthy, and it didn't matter. They keep losing, as you're saying. And Baker has played a role in that. I mean, what happened at the end of this game, Mark? I didn't see any of this one.
Baker had 2 terrible interceptions in this game. He came in with only 8 on the year. And it wasn't that there was a lot of late game dramatics in this. They scored a touchdown on the final drive after an interception and a fumble. Like their fourth quarter performance was a team just fading away. And what I was impressed by was, and the Dolphins were shut down at the end, was that Quinn Ewers kept punctuating this defense with big throws and big plays. I know this is a Justin guy from Texas, but he looked to me comfortable and willing to take advantage of a Bucs defense that can't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass, and couldn't handle the moment.
Every time I watched this, every time I kind of checked in on Quinn, it looked like he was throwing to open targets. Like it didn't look like he was bothered at all by this, which was kind of wild. And did Bowles, did they try to pressure him? Were they in his face? Did it just not work? Like what was the defensive game plan of this one?
I would think he did, but you didn't see that. He did look comfortable, and he was able to get passes off quick, get it to open receivers, and it just seems to me like also you can play balanced offense against the Bucs right now. They ran for about 145 yards or so, which is commonplace against this defense. And I think to your point, Dan, that if we want to say that these Arians and Jason Light want to keep their friend around, it's like his calling card is defense. And that's to even more than the offense. That's why this team has fallen off a complete cliff and doesn't deserve to make the playoffs. They do not this is what annoys me about these terrible divisions. I don't want to see them in the playoffs.
And yet they could with a win next week and some help. Here's Baker on what's next for the Bucs.
Still have a chance playing for the division at home. And I'll get this group ready.
There can't be more urgency, right? You're literally out of bullets now, man.
Out of bullets, out of lives. And that's all right with me.
I feel like when...
What was the phrase?
Out of bullets, out of lives, and that's all right with me. I don't feel like you get to talk like John Wayne when you've lost 7 of 8 and you're in the NFC South. I mean, I think sometimes I would just go hard, no comment, and be like, I'll see you guys next week.
He doesn't look healthy to me either from the waist down. I know that was the case before, but or if it's a shoulder situation. This is like Baker's going to play through this, but he's not 100%.
All right, let's take a break, and we will continue to roll through Week 17. All right, we are back. Let's continue our roll through Week 17. Let's head next to Indianapolis at AFC South Tilt. Okay, so this was not the Trevor Lawrence on acid game that we've been seeing. Like the good acid, like a really good trip. Like the Beatles in India. Although I don't think that was a totally great experience.
Well, it changed them.
It did change them. Anyway, Lawrence was a little more hit or miss in this game, and the Colts, to their credit, fought hard. But you want to talk about, I don't remember the last time a team collapsed the way the Bucs have. Well, take a look at the Indianapolis Colts. Once 8-2, now 8-8 after falling 23-17 to the Jaguars, who, you know, we got to tip our caps to the Jaguars. Did any of us see 12-4 on their bingo card heading into Week 18? I don't think so. Anyway, Lawrence ran for 2 scores in this game, and Cam Little made a tie-breaking 42-yard field goal with 7 minutes to play, and that was enough for the Jags to continue their winning ways, Justin.
Yeah, I think the final score of this game doesn't fully capture. Like, this game was a lot closer than it needed to be. Like, I feel like Jacksonville soundly outplayed Indianapolis in this game, but they couldn't get the points on the board. Their first drive ended in a flea flicker fumble disaster that would have been wide open if I think it was Jacoby Myers pitching it, and maybe it was ETN just dropped the ball. Like, that was a touchdown for him running into the end zone. They outgained Indianapolis 370 yards to 204. There was a lot, like, Trevor Lawrence did not have a lot of downfield throws in this game. It was a lot of short stuff, a lot of quick stuff, which worked well to move the ball, but ultimately didn't put the ball into scoring position maybe as much as they wanted. They still finished with 23 points. You mentioned Lawrence running for 2 touchdowns, but I think Indy came into this game thinking we can try to play spoiler even though our season's over because they were eliminated from the playoffs on Saturday. We can play spoiler, and they came out and they fought really hard, and they made it a close game, but Jacksonville was clearly the better team.
Yeah, and if you want to give categories for the contenders for the final 6 weeks of the NFL season, the team that has staked the claim to the corner of nobody believes in us is the Jaguars. They're pounding that drum week after week. You hear it in the press conferences, in the post-game comments. Here was Trevor Lawrence after this win.
Obviously, it's a long season to play, and you never know exactly how it's going to play out, but we have all the confidence in the world in our locker room that it should be us. So we got to go and finish the job next week. We need our fans to come out and support and make it a great atmosphere, tough atmosphere to play in for Tennessee. And yeah, obviously, it's a huge game, division game against the Titans to win the AFC South. I mean, it's huge. So we know what we got to do, and we got to have a great week of prep and put a good plan together.
We'll just say this. The Jaguars fans need to watch out because I saw this on Twitter a couple times during the game where a couple of fans posting stuff like, "This is our dream season and all they're talking about is Phillip Rivers. Why isn't anyone paying more attention to the Jaguars?" And it's like, pump the brakes, because that level of fan assholedom gets you bit back in the hide when you end up losing by 15 in the first round of the wild cards or first round of the playoffs. So just take a chill pill. Like, enjoy the ride and stop worrying about how many people are paying attention to you. This shit drives me nuts.
And yet, Connor, even in that fair retort, you did presuppose a blowout loss in the first round of the playoffs, which feeds into exactly the narrative that they have been using to gas up their tank.
If it happens. That's all.
But maybe we need to stop thinking that will happen, because this team, all they do now is win. They're 12-4.
And Liam Cohen is the only first-year head coach in NFL history to take a team that won 4 or fewer games the prior season and win 12 or more the following year. So Liam Cohen, Coach of the Year buzz. I know it's like this might be the most tightly contested new coach hire, Coach of the Year competition between Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, and Liam Cohen, but Cohen deserves as much credit as anybody, and I don't see this team losing a playoff game by 15 points in the wild card round, barring some like turnover nuclear apocalypse
Which
like what
could
happened to the
happen.
Lions on Christmas.
I have to say it could happen because even in this game, if you go back and watch this game, the kind of old pre-acid trip, positive acid trip, Trevor Lawrence did pop up in a couple plays, and they had some red zone turnovers. I still not willing to just say that that's never going to come back because we even saw it a little bit today. So that to me would be their fatal flaw, their red zone issues in terms of ball security and the quarterback. Anything to add on this, Mark, before we go to the Colts?
Well, it's a team with 28 takeaways and a 7-game win streak. So I hear you that like anything could happen in the playoffs, but in this AFC lot of teams, I don't think they're the team that I'd pick to be susceptible for that. And I will say one thing about Liam Cohen too, because I'm with you, Justin. Like it's probably a Ben Johnson type year for that. Just it feels like the Jaguars in a different place they were a month ago. But it's the development of Trevor Lawrence. It's guys like Parker Washington who are like legit contributors week after week. Brenton Strange makes plays week after week. Like their running game is really powerful. They're balanced. Like they're a force. Like Jacoby Myers fits right in. Like they've built a good team. And you're right. They had 4 wins a year ago. And when I see that, to me, it's like, if it's not the coach with a lot of the same parts, who is it? To me, I think Liam Cohen is a difference-making coach, and I don't know if that's the kind of team I'd pick for a major folding job in the playoffs, but everything has been so weird in the AFC, who knows?
And this isn't maybe the place for this discussion, but like the Bears went out and added all those interior offensive linemen. The Patriots went out and added a bunch of guys in free agency. The Jags obviously added some pieces, but it is mostly the same core of players that are just playing so much better this year. And I think that is coaching. And they trade for Jacoby Myers midseason, and it takes him like a week to get up to speed. That's coaching, getting him ready to go and be a contributor right away. So I don't know. I like this Jags team to be one of the hot teams when we get to the playoffs.
On the Colts side, it's time to send Phil Rivers back to Alabama. This is not his fault, but it's a results-oriented business. They are 0-3 with Phil, a quarterback. That's not his fault, but also I feel like he was the noodle-armed Hail Mary for the season. And he, after the game, Rivers did talk like a guy who had maybe played his last game in the NFL.
If this was the last one, I told you guys I wasn't going to have any regrets about coming back, and I don't. It's other than us not winning, right? Us not winning. It's been an absolute blast for 3 weeks. I wouldn't, if I go back and say, all right, now you know everything's going to happen, what are you going to do? I'd do it all again. It's been absolutely awesome. So, yeah, I mean, if it's the last one, it's the last one. I thought the last one was walking off the field in Buffalo, walking up that tunnel, and I was fine with that. And that one had tears those few days after it, and I was at peace with that being the last one. So certainly, if it is, I got 3 bonus games that I never saw coming, and couldn't be more thankful that I got the opportunity.
And I should note that there's some reports floating around out there that Shane Steichen wants to get a look at Riley Leonard. They're in Houston next week. I feel like you're eliminated from the playoffs. God, the last thing you'd ever want is to have Phil Rivers playing in a meaningless game against a ferocious pass rush in Houston and be put in harm's way. I feel like this is the time to end it. But Connor, it didn't work out, but it still was like kind of maybe the most fun story of the season.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, I think everybody should do it. The Bengals did it with Joe Flacco, and I think it at least sets the bar for owners waking up and getting off their ass and doing something creative when their team is in peril instead of just saying we like the guys in the locker room, which isn't true.
Yep. Gary Cooper, 2 words.
Whatever happened to Gary Cooper? All right, let's on the subject of the Houston Texans, let's go back in time to Saturday and a matchup with the Chargers here at SoFi Stadium. Man, these AFC South teams, we've had our fun with the AFC South over the years, but we got 2 major dogs in this division. The Houston Texans once again showed why they might not be the flashiest team, but they are not a team to be messing with, and they could shut down anybody. C.J. Stroud threw 2 touchdown passes early on deep balls, and then the Texans defense stifled poor Justin Herbert, who is doing the best he can behind an awful and banged up offensive line. Houston had 5 sacks. in a 20-16 victory over the Chargers. That extends the Texans' winning streak to 8 games, clinched a third consecutive playoff berth for the first time in franchise history. And lest we forget, yes, of course, the Jaguars have a game in hand. Jaguars win in Week 18. They win the division. But this Texans team, Mark, started 0-3. And to pick themselves off the mat and get to where they are now and win a game like this on the road against a Chargers team that we were just a few days ago singing the praises is like different than other Chargers teams. And then they made the Chargers look like all those old Chargers teams that always let their fans down in the end. It just goes to show the Texans have a way to dictate the action of a matchup in their favor, and they do it every single week now.
Yeah, they feel built for ugly late season football. And then you got the surprising massive 2 touchdown passes from CJ Stroud, who's played a lot better over the last month out of the gate that changes the game. It's a game that left me because I think we kind of just been watching the Chargers saying, okay, can you survive like the loss of your 2 starry tackles, like massive men who were going to keep your quarterback upright. With like Bobby Hart in there at left tackle yesterday, like I don't know if I think they can. Like I feel like this game is just going to happen again in a couple of weeks to them because it feels like they're on borrowed time with their offensive line. Like you can't survive game after game, and you can't go through a rugged playoff race. And the Texans are the perfect team to make that overt and obvious for us. And they diagnose this line and this offense pretty well. And I mean, Herbert is a courageous guy who's going to play through all sorts of stuff. He's still got this glove on, but like it's asking a lot. And I just think it kind of, to me, signals that the Chargers have a bookend attached to them at some point here.
All right, well, that's interesting, Mark. Here's some sound from D'Amico Ryans.
These guys have been playing lights out all year, every single game. But the way the D-line showed up today, I mean, sack after sack, it's really putting pressure on the quarterback, getting him down. It was really cool to see Barnett get a couple sacks. Just a lot of different guys got sacks. Barnett, Will, Daniil, Rankins, everybody was involved. Coach Rod has done a great job with those guys all year. We needed them to play big today, and they did.
And they're coming from everywhere, right? I mean, D'Amico Autry, Will Anderson, Sheldon Rankins, Al Shahir. It's like every single spot in this Texans defense is a complete problem for any offensive line, and not just a banged up offensive line. And I think when you get into the waning months, it's either a powerful running game or this type of defense that ends up tipping the scales in your favor. We saw that with Philly in the playoffs last year, and Houston may very well be that iteration of that team this year.
Yeah, and on the Herbert side, this is a game that when you watch it and you see what he has around him right now, and you see how good Houston is at getting after the quarterback, the way that he was able to move this team on offense. I know they didn't have a big game, obviously, with just 16 points, but move this team on offense and evade sacks, get past guys, run through tackles, make incredible throws with pass rushers all over him. Mind you, still with a broken hand that he had surgery on a couple of weeks ago. Nothing about this game lessens my feeling about Justin Herbert. And I still think, again, in a very strange and wide open NFL season in January, a guy like that getting hot, it can happen. I still think the Chargers are a team that can make a run in the playoffs, but maybe there are certain matchups that you want to avoid. Yes. And in this case,
don't the
Houston
Texans
is one of
keep
them.
Being that matchup you don't want to deal with? It feels like that's like
Right.
they're you've been touting the fact that they could go win 2 playoff games. I see it. I think also this game was 20-16, and a very reliable kicker in Cameron Dicker, the kicker, like misses a field goal and an extra point. Like little things like that in this situation can't happen for this Chargers team. They can't
Because they have
mistakes.
They have such a slim margin for error. And to the credit of the Chargers, and why I've been really into them these last few weeks, is like they're really good at playing that type of game, and they almost always execute the way they need to. And they're very, and that's again a credit to coaching, Harbaugh and his staff. Like they are great on that thin, razor thin line of execution. And then you saw what happened on Saturday when they weren't quite that way in their special teams, and that cost them. So we'll see what happens with the Texans and if they can steal the division. But I thought one of the great quotes of the 2025 season was uttered by safety Jalen Petrie, who said, "God is the greatest. The Texans' defense is maybe second."
Like Moses would be a little piqued by that comment, Saint Stephen.
By the way, I picked the Chargers in this game. I know Connor. He picked the Chargers so hard that he locked them. Tough break there, pal. Any comments on that, by the way, Connor? Wait, in case anybody forgot what happened, Justin, do you have that?
Yeah, this was delicious.
So I'm going to lock bro with you on this one, Connor. I'm going to also grab the Chargers.
And Dan, I am going to exercise my ability to prevent you from lock broing with me. I am going to exercise my ability to prevent you from lock broing with me.
Prevent you from lock broing with me.
Thank you, buddy. Was that a little Christmas present for the old Zeusser?
It was gift wrapped and sent directly to your home. Yeah, Jesus, that was not good. It's not what you want.
And I thought the Chargers were going to win, but I knew it was going to be a close, hard-fought game, and I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game. And wait, cue another flashback? And that's why I like the Chargers to win. They're kind of very similar teams. I would bang the under on this. I don't know what it is, Justin, but I feel like this has got 20-16 written all over it. Let's see what happens. How about that?
Jeepers.
I am the ball knower. If you say that I do not know ball, it is you who does not know ball. Look in the mirror, my friend.
Well, we know how this show works, but it was a wonderful moment when Connor over text, the group text, I think was reminded, or even had to remember for the first time that this whole thing went down, that you had blocked Dan from a horrific lock loss.
Yes.
Right in the middle of your little Christmas weekend.
That was the problem. So we were packing up.
Auga!
We were packing up the TNC for a interstate road trip, and taking all the presents from my mom's house back home to New Jersey. So there was a lot going on, and then we got in the door, had to shovel. We were shoveled out of the house, and so I'm like, Dad, pissed off. I'm tired. Got a lot going on, and then I turned on the TV, and I was like, motherfucker, not only did I lock this team, but then was I a huge asshole and prevented Dan from doing that? And really just wanted to crawl in a hole and die.
Santa brought, and I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Santa brought Jack and Harry new bikes. So on Saturday, we the whole family and another family from town rode bikes right along the sea there. It's one of the great things about living here in Los Angeles. And we took the bike path from El Segundo to Hermosa Beach, and we went to the Strand, which is a great area. And the boys, we had 4 boys under the age of 11, and one of them got an Apple Watch, so that gave the parents a little bit of freedom to, like, you guys want to have a little agency and go eat at this place while the parents go over here and have a couple drinks 2 spots down. We did that. So
sexy.
I was getting them set up at a ridiculously on the nosed USA themed restaurant on the Strand in Hermosa called American Junkie, I think it's called. So it's like a very America themed restaurant, and they just had all the game was on and all these screens. And I found the one place in Los Angeles where there were Chargers fans. There was like a group of Chargers fans watching the game.
At most one place.
And everybody, as I sat down these 4 boys before we just set them loose at this table and then buggered off, they were all scowling already. I was like, what's going on? And then I saw the score is 14-3, and I was like Cesar Romero, the original Joker, when I thought of what Connor had done. Ooh, delicious!
Which child pays for that, or is that the old dine and ditch scenario for the 4 of those boys? You just like run away, and it's like, well, it's children.
I said, Jack, hit me up on the Apple Watch when it's time to pay, and Daddy will roll over.
Honest, an honest approach.
Why do you have your sons steal from the restaurants when they eat?
depends on the establishment.
Oh my goodness. God is the greatest. Okay. The Texans defense is maybe second. All right, let's stay on the Saturday tip and head to Green Bay. I know this wasn't it. There's another one that Sessler wasn't happy
Well, this
about.
is stupid. This is.
I see what you're saying, Sessler. I have had too many of these weeks while we've done this job when like literally every outcome just eats shit. The Ravens aren't dead, not even close. Derrick Henry had a performance for the ages, rushing for 216 yards, the most ever by a visiting player at Lambeau Field, and he matched a career high with 4 touchdown runs as the Ravens roll up the Packers 41-24 on Saturday night. The Packers now they're locked in, right? They're locked in at 7 in the NFC, so they'll make roster or lineup decisions accordingly for Week 18. Meanwhile, the Ravens, we're going to get to what happened to the Steelers in just a bit. The Ravens, after this game at least, had to go into wait mode and hope the Steelers gagged on Sunday. But let's talk about this game and how it turned out. Connor.
This was, obviously you said it, Dan. This was a Derrick Henry game for the ages, but I was struck immediately, really before he took over and before he started absolutely smashing this Packers defense, I was struck with how well Tyler Huntley was playing. He added 60 yards on the ground. The Ravens rushed for over 300 yards against the Packers. But I thought Huntley was cool in this game. He was decisive with the ball. I think he only had like 4 or 5 incomplete passes. And when the entire stage is set for a possible elimination game against the backdrop of, Lamar Jackson's not here, he's not out there. Like Huntley, if you would have told me that was the Ravens starting quarterback and I was from another planet, I would have totally believed you.
And how about the Packers starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Malik Willis.
Well, I think he changed his career last night.
Malik Willis played, I don't want to overdo it here, but played a nearly perfect football game, had one of the best performances by a quarterback that you'll see in football, at least in this week, and they didn't even come close to winning.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you could say, well, Jordan Love didn't play and they weren't going to win the division anyway. But to me, Mark, this is a major red flag on the Packers, who seem to be really, and it's, if you want to make the line of demarcation, when Micah Parsons went down with the ACL tear, this team is trending in a very bad direction as we get closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, they were 9-3-1. They're 9-6-1. And I thought they were a good defense pre-Micah Parsons, based on last year and just in general who they are and Jeff Hafley. And they have fallen apart against the run. And I think the Ravens did a nice job of diagnosing that. I think Derrick Henry had 15 carries minutes into the second quarter. They basically said this is going to be that game for Derrick Henry, and it worked very well. And both quarterbacks played well, but without Henry dominating late, the score would not have been what it was. It leaves me really concerned about the Packers. It just does, because it's I thought that their quiet calling card was their defense, and you're the 7th seed now. You're falling apart, with or without Jordan Love, because you could argue that Jordan Love's backup played as well as Jordan Love ever would have in that game. So it's just kind of like some teams don't last the regular season the way that you want, and they feel like they're missing a couple pieces to make them special.
One more thing on the Packers, sliding doors. They're winning 16-6 on the Bears with 2 minutes to play, and they let that game get away, and now things are snowballing on that team. And I think there's certainly a case to be made, Connor, about you rest the guys in Week 18 now. Who cares if you lose another game? But you can make the case you could use a little shot in the arm and get out on the field and win a game and set yourself up to be in a better headspace entering the playoffs, because I think that matters too.
I think it's all on how the coach handles it, because I think it was last year, right, that Sean McVay said, I don't give a shit about whether I'm the 4 seed, the 5 seed, the 6 seed, whatever. We're going to rest our guys. And I think if you're McVay, that gives your team a certain amount of confidence that he knows what he's doing.
I don't give a shit about what I feel.
And you're going to game plan whoever it is. But then you have the classic examples of Tom Coughlin. We're going to play these meaningless games, and then we're going to end up backing into the playoffs, and it's going to give us some kind of momentum. I think it's just about understanding the guys in your locker room at that point. What do they thrive off of? What do they need? Because both of those approaches have been successful.
And just let's give a shout out to Derrick Henry.
My Lord.
Crazy game, crazy situation. We'll get to the Titans later, but you got Vrabel, who's going to win Coach of the Year. You got Derrick Henry, who just moved into 10th all-time in rushing and just had the game of his life at age 31. You got Malik Willis, who's now going to get starter money next year. I'm not saying nothing over here now, Justin. I'm just saying things that there's a lot of Titan success for cast-offs.
AJ, this is Derrick Henry's second best game of his career. The best game was the 2018 Thursday Night Football game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Derrick Henry now has the most 200-yard rushing games in NFL history, the most 200-yard 2-touchdown games in NFL history. I thought he had a good case for the Hall of Fame when he left the Titans, but these last 2 seasons, I think, cement it. He's definitely
How about
a Hall
Malik
of Famer.
Willis? Him turning into a certified dude. Is that
that is more. That is a little bit of egg on the face of the Titans. There, would you not agree from where we stand right now?
No doubt. That's Rand Carthon, who was fired, and Brian Callahan, who was fired. Those 2 guys are the ones who made the decision to trade him. I think Cam Ward is going to end up being a better quarterback. So, like, all roads lead to that. It's fine. But I do think that was a pretty big blunder because Malik Willis would be maybe one of the best backups in the NFL if you'd kept him in Tennessee. So, yeah, it's not.
Are we giving you good ammo for Los Titans Ultimo podcast this week, or did you already hit this?
No, we did hit this, and we have we're pretty planned out for the week because it's New Year's, so we're like recording early and stuff. But yeah, no.
Okay,
but thank you.
You always manage to give us an extra 2 or 3 sentences that we didn't need on the production
like
over there.
Sentence.
Can I just say one thing?
Ultimo.
Like 8 minutes into this game, it was like I know what's happening. Like I know that the NFL offices are texting and calling everyone of importance and saying, no, we're not going to roll into week 18 minus a pivotal night game. We're not going to tag some nonsensical affair up at night. So, of course, the Ravens will win this. Of course, it's going to be Ravens-Steelers.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But I thought you more were saying it's almost like a demon twink standing above Sessler and just unleashing.
It's back.
The demon twink just standing over you and unleashing itself.
It's like multiple demon twinks unleashing themselves on me.
Yeah,
I can't control anything at this point.
There's a lot going on in the dungeon, and it's like one of those things like Mark wants out of the dungeon. He's shouting the safe word over and over. No one's listening.
No one's listening.
All right. Anyway, here's John Harbaugh on the great Derrick Henry.
Yeah, you can't. It's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. You know, I mean, it was hard downhill running, but also a lot of make miss. I mean, he's making guys miss. He's taking it inside, taking it outside. You'd be remiss not to talk about the offensive line and the tight ends, but also the wide receivers. I'm going to tell you, when you watch that tape, you guys go back and watch the tape, you're going to see everybody blocking, including the wide receivers. I mean, I got little Zay out there blocking people. Bate is blocking people. Hop is blocking people. They all are. 81's in there fighting, blocking people. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You talk about a team that cares about one another.
And yet, none of this, John Harbaugh's like, thank Christ. Was I going to get fired? Because Lamar Jackson's back hurts? No comment on that. Is Lamar going to play? Is he coming back next week? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Good luck with that. Anyway, none of this would ever even mattered if the Steelers just took care of business on Sunday in Cleveland. Of course they would, right? Right?
Great music for this one.
Oh, yeah. Propulsive. Wrong! We got that Brown. See, Sessy, you kept on dismissing the Browns in this game. And I was thinking to myself, the Browns show up, even this team, with 12 losses, that defense shows up certain weeks. At home, against the rival, a potentially historic game with Myles Garrett going for the sack record. Cleveland could show up. Listen, it's like Mortal Kombat. Turn this up in my headphones.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy the multiple results here.
We haven't got to the Jets yet. Anyway, the song. Anyway, Cleveland's defense did show up. They played excellent. They stifled Aaron Rodgers, held him to 168 yards passing, 4.3 yards per attempt. And they get the stop down the stretch with Pittsburgh having an opportunity to go down the field late. They get 4 straight incompletions and then hold on for a 13-6 win. Hurts the Browns in the draft standings. They don't get a sack from Myles Garrett, and he's still 1 short of the NFL record. But
I'm going to get my sack back.
What they do, Sessy, is grievously injure the Pittsburgh Steelers and put them in a world of doubt as they now prepare for a Week 18 winner-take-all matchup with the Ravens.
Well, okay. See, this is what was annoying me. Not by you guys. You texted me, Dan, and you understood this was a no-win sitch. But like, all it did was open the door for the Baltimore Ravens to still be in the playoff hunt. This isn't there's no victory here.
Let's cue the Ravens tweet after the game.
Oh.
Which I know got on your radar, Sessy.
Yes, it got on my radar.
Talk us through actually the little back and forth on social. Go ahead.
So the Ravens, who I know some Gen Zer probably wrote this, who doesn't even know the history of, but like perfect timing, shout out Browns for beating the Steelers.
Tag the Browns on it, yeah.
I mean, that is historically ignoble. And then the Browns fired back. They fired back and say, don't think we did this for you. Well, that person gets it. If you
that Gen Zer we're cool with.
If you ask most Browns fans, and I'm going to remove the honorable ticket buying people that are in the stadium that want to see a win. I get that. Okay. That's different. But the average logical Browns fan who has suffered through this in 40 other seasons doesn't want to suddenly tumble down to the 8th spot in the draft when you've already lost to the Titans and Jets. Okay. You had the tiebreaker if you had the same record as them in the draft. You beat a half-dead Steelers team who I get it. That's nice. We don't know if Myles Garrett's going to get the record, which would be incredibly depressing. And you kicked open the door for the effing Ravens to play this absurd night game next week and get into the playoffs. None of this went the way that a Browns fan thinking about the future would want. I'm not going to get my jollies off of like this 1 3-hour experience. Like, we're now in a shittier situation than we were this morning.
And yeah, you look at Tankathon, and as you said, the Browns now slipped to picking 6th in the draft. And I think what I empathized with you as this was happening, Mark, was like, just like for our teams, the Jets and Browns, who I feel like are in our own special 7th circle of hell, right? That's the one that bonds us together. Is we can't even like tank properly. And if you're going to upset the Steelers in this spot, at least get Myles Garrett the sack record.
Yeah.
But that doesn't even happen. And now it opens the door for you were saying like concerns that if he even gets it now next week, people say, well, that was an 18-game season, blah, blah, blah. You had a chance to get it against Pittsburgh. And it seemed like Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers were almost like gearing their entire offense to avoid that happening. In fact, Myles Garrett said as much after the game.
To an extent, I feel like they were more worried about keeping me away from Aaron than getting the win, and I think that's what came back to bite them. So they'll have to fight it out with Baltimore next week. But I'm just proud of the guys for fighting and getting this win. That's the main thing, and I'm always going to keep it that.
I know he's talking about his own world in there, but that is absolutely how this game looked to me. And Pittsburgh, for no matter what happens next week, this was a wildly inept performance on offense. I know DK Metcalf was not there, and that suspension is going to kill him, but like 5 or 6 drives in the second half, producing nothing. Nothing. It was like an abhorrent performance on offense.
In 2 of those drives, Mike Tomlin opted not to go for it on 4th and 5. And while I abhor those bots that are like, you increased your win probability by X% for, deciding to go for it or not, I mean, you're leaving about 15% win favorability on the table by not taking those opportunities. But this was just a masterclass in how to lose a game in every way, shape, or form. And I have an interesting trivia question for you guys. The last 5 times the Pittsburgh Steelers have played a team that was 8 or more games under 500. What do you think Mike Tomlin's record is in those 5 games?
Dan, you go.
I'm going to say 1-4.
I'll say winless.
0-4-1.
Oh, come on. What a strange team.
Fucking crazy. Like, win this game. Oh my God.
I know, you got to win this game. And like, honestly, they had multiple chances in the red zone. And I just want to make sure I get the record right. They had 2 opportunities late in the 4th quarter here. They take over with 2:16 to go and go 4 and out. and they target Denzel Ward of all people 3 times. Ward had a nice quote after this game too about like, "You sure you want to do that for Stride?" I like the cattiness of the game, Mark. There's a lot of negatives if you want to look at it, but also like cool. Like the Browns, f***ed up the Steelers shit today and made life miserable for them.
It's not their job to want to lose the game,
Right.
so I give them their credit. Yes,
But then the Browns play conservatively. They only run 18 seconds off the clock and kick a field goal, and then the Steelers march right into the red zone, and they get to the 7-yard line, and it's clearly DK Metcalf time. And multiple times in this game, but most importantly, with the game on the line on the last 3 plays, they're targeting MVS, Valdez-Scantling, with the game on the line. And clearly you can imagine DK Metcalf making a play at the end of that game. And he's not there because he is a total buffoon and got himself suspended, not just this week, but next week too. Now with the division on the line, not covering himself in glory at all, Mr. Metcalf, and his selfish actions, I think, probably cost him a game today, Connor.
Well, interestingly enough, though, I don't know if you guys saw this before the game. All types of NFL media insiders noted that DK got into a fight with this guy last year, same person.
Yes, they've encountered each other before.
And so they've had multiple encounters, and so the security on all ends was flagged. And so I'm not putting this under a coach's umbrella, but if you're an NFL team and you have people for all manner of situations, how are you not tracking that in some way, shape, or form? Like, this guy's clearly bothering your best player. Isn't there someone on the sideline that can just take him and redirect him back towards
they need a Pittsburgh Dom.
They need a medium Dom, even a small Dom would do.
Yeah,
a tiny Dom.
I don't know if a little Dom would be able
Technocratic
to do it. Yeah.
I mean, geez, that's a good point. And that idiot fan held a press conference, and I didn't watch a second of it because I don't need to hear anything from that guy. It's like calls a press conference with a backwards cap on, like showing how cool he was or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm going to opt out of clicking into this, but congratulations on your 15 minutes of fame. Just everybody kind of lost in this one, but most painfully the Steelers against the Browns, and now it comes down to Week 18. Let's head to another earlier in the week, Christmas Day in Minneapolis. We just got to bounce all over the place. It's a weird week. You know how it is, everybody. Anybody watch these Christmas games in real time?
I checked them out.
I feel like our audience is like, oh, tell us what happened in these games. I have no idea. I'll tell you what happened. The Lions, speaking of not covering themselves in glory, have absolutely cratered down the stretch. Their offense at a complete loss against Brian Flores, who I see a lot of people like saying, oh, Brian Flores, future head coach. Let's not forget that he's suing the NFL for racism and stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with Brian Flores. He deserves a job, but I don't know if he gets one, put it that way. But in the here and now, he's a dominant defensive play caller, and he showed it again in a 23-10 win for the Vikings. Jared Goff had an absolute nightmare performance, charged with 3 lost fumbles, 2 more interceptions, 5 turnovers, and the Lions fall to 8-8, eliminated from the playoffs. The Vikings now also 8-8. They put it together here in the backstretch. That's good coaching. But both these teams will be going home after next week, Connor.
Yeah. I mean, the Brian Flores thing, I guess let's start there. It is absolutely wild to me that he has probably been one of 3 coaches who have reshaped the NFL over the last 3 seasons and probably won't get a head coaching job this offseason, and didn't get one last season after a little bit less interest than I expected. And so it's really cool. He bet on himself. He's going to get a gigantic deal coordinating somewhere next year. But I think that's one of the big storylines to follow this whole season. And he walks off with, who knows? I don't know.
He's one of these like coordinators because he went nuts in this game.
Yes.
Against the Lions. And I think that the idea of him being a head coach again, no matter what's happening on the side, is that I saw this with the Dolphins too. I know that ended poorly, but when old Dolphins players would talk about Brian Flores, like, he galvanized them. And this Vikings defense has done the opposite of giving up. They were doing some crazy stuff in this game against the Lions. And he feels like he's the perfect pairing with Kevin O'Connell of like offensive and defensive semi-geniuses who fit really well. And in reverse, the flip side, to lose someone like that, because I'm watching this Lions team and I'm like, we are seeing the absence in the void of Ben Johnson. Like, it's just overt. Like, whatever Chicago has gained, I think this Lions team has lost. They ran out of gas and they didn't have any answers for this defense.
Here's Dan Campbell, sullen and dejected after his team was eliminated.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at a lot, I'm going to be looking at a lot of things because I do not like being home for the playoffs, and I know our guys don't either. So, and there again, whenever you lose, man, it takes a village, man. Everybody's involved, including myself, So I'm always going to look at myself first, And
I want to pair that Campbell quote, as we talk about the Lions side of this, with something his star offensive tackle, Penei Sewell, said after the game.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to tip your hat off to them. They had a good game plan, and we weren't ready. Simple as that.
So there you go. That's a star player. I thought it was notable. We weren't ready. Usually when I see that quote, I see that as somewhat a reflection of some frustrations in the locker room about the team's preparedness and the coaching staff. And I'm not saying there's a mutiny or Dan Campbell's in trouble or any of that. But I think for the first time, we're kind of at a crossroads with the Lions, and we see what comes next, because this season went obviously sideways for them. Dan Campbell, don't forget, took over play calling, so his hands are covered in blood about how this game went against Brian Flores. And in general, for the first time, Connor, we're seeing the Lions and Dan Campbell not being this fuzzy, warm story, but like, shoot, did their window close? Are they going to be able to reload? What comes next for this team? Because the way the season ended could not be more bitter.
Yeah. And one thing about the Flores-O'Connell relationship that I think informs everything in Detroit, the reason why the Vikings offense is so consistently good, and I guess good in air quotes this year, given the quarterback situation, is the fact that O'Connell will take that game plan and go run it by Flores and say, well, what would you do when I do this and I do this and I do this? And the Lions' whole defensive staff was able to do that with Ben Johnson last year. Hey, what would you do if we were to come out and do this, do this, do this? They can't do that now. It's Dan Campbell bouncing things off of a first-year coordinator who's talented, no doubt, and I think a future head coach in the NFL. But the brain drain is real, and I think as much as the Lions wanted to deflect it and say that was like a media talking point, I mean, God, they lost to a team with a quarterback who threw for 54 yards on Christmas. I mean, the Vikings
finished with 3 net passing yards, the fewest by a winning team in an NFL game since 2006. Max Brosmer took 6 sacks. They were at -7 net passing yards until his last throw, the 10-yard connection with Justin Jefferson that sealed the game. I mean, it
appears that Max has a bright future based on what you've shared with us.
I mean, the 2 games where he was notably horrible were at Seattle and then against this Brian Flores Vikings defense on the road as well. Not easy assignments, but maybe Brosner is not off to a great start. But yeah, we'll talk more about the Lions and what comes next for them. But to not win this game, really, to me, was like, geez, they've completely, they're adrift right now. And I don't think any of us predicted that either before the season. Let's take a break. All right, we keep rolling on. Let's head back to the Christmas Day schedule and Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs were looking to play spoiler against the Broncos. Still feels weird to think of them that way. Everything's different there now, huh? Like, Taylor Swift's still at the game? Isn't it weird how the Taylor Swift mania perfectly was in line with the Chiefs dynasty? When they first got together and she was going to all the games and they were running roughshod through the AFC, and then they win a Super Bowl and they have this fairy tale thing on the field. And now that's all gone. She's still at the stadium. Travis Kelce is maybe or maybe not retiring. He kind of hinted both ways after the game, it seemed. And the Chiefs are just losing. It's a whole different world now. 20-13, they fall to the Broncos as the Broncos improve to 13-3. They are 1 win away in Week 18 to clinching the top seed in the AFC. And it was not a dominant effort by the Broncos. It was the type of game, Mark, that kind of might frustrate certain people that don't totally buy in on the Broncos as a true dominant force in their conference. And yet, they've been doing this all year. They do enough to win, and they did it again against a deeply shorthanded Chiefs team.
Yeah, it doesn't change what I think about Denver in the sense that this is the style that we've come to expect. I mean, I thought this game was largely a dud visually, but at the end, it was Travis Kelce, maybe in his final appearance in Kansas City at home, who kind of went nuts on that final drive with Chris Oladokun. Like, they connected on a number of passes, and I thought, is this going to end in a storybook fashion? We're going to get Taylor Swift going nuts
this year.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It kind of like symbolizes to some degree this whole experience. It's got to be wild for Broncos fans to, no matter the score, to have this result at this time of year after being whipped by this team for a decade plus.
I just want to, when do they move into Wichita? Let's move this thing along, I mean,
we're still on a sit-in on Chiefs analysis until when? I don't understand. It's not like this is going to change. Are you just opting out of Chiefs analysis for the rest of your days as
I
a
respect
reporter?
the concept.
Yeah. So I
do too. I just want to know the parameters and how to handle this as the host of the show.
Yeah, totally fair for you. I think basically what it came down to was me making a list of cities in Kansas and Dodge City, Garden City, Shawnee, Emporia, Liberal, Derby, Junction City, and just wanting to probably get through as many of them as I possibly can before letting the Chiefs off the hook. Because this whole thing is going to be hilarious. Like, the team is going to be so bad by the time they actually build a stadium and move there that no one's going to give a shit. Like, Patrick Mahomes will be retired. It'll be really funny.
Like, Dan, over under on how many hours Connor is quietly spent on the phone with various government officials about this. I'm going to put it at 3.5.
And then there's a little pre-TNC Connor still peeking through on certain things, and this is one of those topics for sure. I mean, you could make it Denver. Not only is obviously Mahomes out, Rashee Rice got moved to IR. Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, their top two cornerbacks, also out of this game. I wouldn't expect the Broncos to struggle as much as they did to win this game, but that's kind of how things roll. Bo Nix guided another fourth quarter game-winning drive, finishing with a 1-yard touchdown pass to R.J. Harvey with 1:45 to play. I kind of want to see this team. I expect them to finish off. They get the Chargers next week. That's going to be a good game. Obviously, that could go either way. This could end with the Patriots taking that top seed. If Broncos stumble, I could see that happening just because Denver, we're not that, a week ago we saw what happened with Jacksonville coming into Denver and beating them up. But at the same time, I really want to see what this Broncos team looks like in the playoffs, and we're almost here. I read a quote from Sean Payton that kind of sounded like the way I was hearing it as I read it was Sean Payton being kind of a little smarmy and maybe reveling in the Chiefs' dysfunction a little bit. But that's just how I heard it as I read it. Let's see what it looked like in real time.
It's good. It's great to get that win, and you always have to remember this, man. You're playing the heart of a champion. And I'll get, Andy and this team, I don't care who comes out of that locker room. This is a team that basically has been at the top of our league for the better part of a century. And so
a century.
There's a ton of respect we have for what they've been able to accomplish.
Laying it on a little thick there, huh, Sean? And by the way, we are inside 750 subs away from the 30K challenge being activated.
Absolutely.
And Conor Orr sharing the story of the breakdown of his relationship with the Broncos head coach. We are so close now, Conor. 750. Let's do it this week, everybody. What do they got to do, Mark?
They got to smash that.
Smash it.
And I think if we can smash beyond it, maybe we can get Connor in that bright green Luigi outfit. Is that who that is, Connor? Is Luigi from Mario Brothers?
Yeah, that
Wait,
was
can you tell the story in the Luigi costume, or is that a bridge too far?
I just want to know who has access to my Instagram and shared that with Justin. That's troubling. Yeah.
That was not maybe cleared beforehand. All right. Anyway. I don't know. Did he seem like he was being real there, or was he twisting the knife?
Very quickly, because I went through the effort to look this up. Here are some other teams that have dominated the NFL over the last century. The Canton Bulldogs, the Columbus Panhandles, the Dayton Triangles, the Decatur Staleys, the Detroit Heralds, and the Muncie Flyers. So.
Right. Even though I do believe he means 2000 to present, but you're right.
Y2K till now, but sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Point taken.
Okay. There are also a lot of pretty bad Chiefs teams, as I remember it, before Patrick Mahomes got to town. But listen, I think he could have just said the last 10 years. It would have been totally fine. Anyway, you know what's not totally fine? Any game at the Meadowlands when the home team's green, or blue, for that matter. Let's head to the old sardine can. Christ. What a nightmare. Yes, we knew the Patriots were going to take care of business on Sunday against the woeful New York Jets. But even by the standards of this terrible Jets team, it was a non-competitive effort. The Patriots roll up 14 unanswered points to start the game. 21 more points in the second quarter. That's right. They're up 35-3 at the break. They take the foot off the pedal in the third quarter and call off the dogs. But by then, Drake May had already thrown 5 touchdown passes on 19 of 21 for 256. A nearly perfect passer rating of 157. Patriots 42, Jets 10. The bad old days are here to stay, or that's how it feels for Jets fans. For the Patriots, it's a hugely consequential win. Because for the Patriots, who finished, by the way, a perfect 8-0 on the road this year, this win combined with the Bills falling short hours later at home means the Pats win the division. The AFC East is theirs, the first time since 2019. And like I said, a win next week coupled over the Dolphins, coupled with a Broncos loss to the Chargers, would give the Pats the number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Worst case scenario, this team is locked and loaded with a home game, at least one home game in their back pocket. And yes, they just blew out a team that didn't even look like an NFL team in New Jersey today.
I mean, this is a conversation obviously for a later time, Dan, but you said it. I think the conversation started a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's almost like shift is the point where you can't bring Aaron Glenn back to have him do this again. I mean,
I hope. I know the Jets are run by a baboon, and incompetence has been the one thing you could count on when it comes to the owner, Woody Johnson. But it had to be, even someone as dull as him has to be able to see the team he played today is in almost an identical situation a year ago this very day, where they had a guy who was a homegrown former player that everyone loved and respected, that had success as a defensive coordinator, that they decided to give the big chair. And he's a nice guy and people like him, but he was not the fit for the job. And then ownership, in this case, it was Robert Kraft, said, you know what? I'm going to fall on the sword here and go get the best guy in the market, who is Vrabel. So Gerard Mayo, one and done, despite that never being the plan for the New England Patriots. They just saw enough in 17 weeks to say, we made a mistake here. And it's a very tricky conversation with the Jets and Aaron Glenn, because the Jets are successful right now. They're successfully tanking by the moves that they're making, the trades that they made. They're trying to lose. They're trying to get the number 1 pick. They're probably not going to get it, but they're going to get a top 3 pick out of it here. And they're losing at a historic rate right now. How historic? Rich Samini reported the point differential for December right now is minus 107, the worst in NFL history. So how do you reconcile, Sessy, a team that is actively trying to lose, and they're doing that, but they're losing too badly. And is that the fault of the head coach and the sign that he has to go? Or is it not fair to fire a head coach when you're trying to lose in the first place?
Well,
only the
Jets. Yes, it is a specific Jets-y issue, because I think part of it is like, if we knew everything that had been said or what had been dealt with behind the scenes, maybe we'd feel more comfortable with Aaron Glenn. Like, if this was the plan, I don't trust the Jets to have a deep state plan like that. Like, I guess one thing that I think hurts Aaron Glenn too is beyond the tanking part, which there are other teams out there that are tanking too. And it's not just we're not looking at the coach specifically and wondering what's happening with the coach. Like, we are in a year, as Justin mentioned, where there's like 5 legit coach of the year candidates, and they're mostly first year, or they're Vrabel, or they're first time coaches. And Aaron Glenn stands out to me as the one where I'm like, I have no idea what this guy is about other than tough guy acts at the podium. Like, our team has lost 8 in a row, and I'm going to browbeat reporters and tell everyone how great we are.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Here's Glenn after the game.
Yeah.
I'm upset with the effort, but I'm also upset with us as coaches too, though. And again, it's going to start with me, of getting these guys ready to play against a hell of a team for our last home game right this season. And that bothers me. It does, in front of our fans, to let them see how we end this season, and we end it like that. It bothers me.
You know what else should bother him is that he gave up a reception to heed the calls preseason hype boy Efton Chisholm in this game. Did you see Efton Chisholm with the big grab?
2 catches, including a touchdown
and a tutty. Woo!
He did. And that's what the Patriots, they love it. I mean, they did call off the dogs in this game, but not before May threw his 5th touchdown pass to your boy Chisholm. And like I said, you're starting an undrafted rookie, Brady Cook, at quarterback. He's terrible, and it's not even his fault. He's not an NFL quarterback, and they're trying to lose. Like, let's not sugarcoat this. Like, the organization wants to lose. They have 3 touchdowns this month total. And again, a -107 point differential in 4 games. Do the math. They're losing by over 25 points a game. So do you take this as we're doing our job and setting ourselves up for the future when we have a ton of draft assets and a ton of cap space? Or do we get out now? It's a decision that I would love. 2 things I would love. 1, that I could trust the organization, full stop. 2, if there was a Mike Vrabel type out there that they could pounce on the way that Robert Kraft wisely did. But I don't know if that guy's out there either. So they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Back to the Patriots before we move on. Again, they're now a division winner. They had that great comeback in Baltimore that I think really was impressive to people like me that wanted to see that. Mowing through bad teams is what really good teams do. And Drake May with this performance, and we'll see what Matthew Stafford does on Monday night. Very strong case for the MVP. Here's what Vrabel said about that.
Oh, well, certainly they don't give me a vote, but I would. There's nobody else that we want as our quarterback or that I want as our quarterback.
Fair. He's an awesome
young
awesome quarterback. And like my last thought is, because I'm thinking about this, like my favorite team has both Drake May and Josh Allen in the division. Like, maybe the only way really to do this is to build a ferocious defense with a defensive-minded head coach. And it's like, man, should we go get Brian Flores? No, we got to stop hiring defensive coaches.
The problem with a bad team like the Jets and these other teams that we talk about, it's like, you've already had drafts where you had 3 first-round picks or 2 first-round picks. You've already drafted a quarterback in the first round multiple times. You've already tried every possible coach.
Right.
You need the quarterback. Like, I would just say the most problematic reality is, look where the Patriots and Jets were 3 years ago, and look how one team transformed everything.
1 year ago.
Sure, but I mean, like,
Patriots
when
lost
we
lost 13 games last year.
But we were laughing at the Patriots a couple years ago and saying, finally, and they worked their way out of it. Like, the whole NFC West worked their way out of it. Like, good teams and good organizations worked their way out of it. I don't know what the answer is for some of these bad teams.
Well, I think if we really want to kind of be reductive about it, I think it does come down to hire the right head coach and get a great young quarterback. And that's what the Patriots did in 2 years. And that's something the Jets have not been able to do for over 50 years. Do that. The only year that they really truly did it was when they had Parcells and a resurgent Vinny Testaverde, and they almost won the chip. But even that now, ancient history, 25 years ago. Anyway, unbelievable. Anyway, congratulations to the Patriots. All right, let's move to the toilet bowl. This seems a little too joyous for the toilet bowl. What else we got? Okay. I'm going to sim.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, somebody had to win. Nobody wanted to win. It was a disgrace, quite frankly. Everybody getting scratched and pulled from the lineup. And everyone from Max Crosby to, I don't know, who else? Who the Giants pull? They bench
Thomas.
guys. Yeah, there you go. Thomas. In the end, somebody had to win the game. It was the Giants, and they won it convincingly in Las Vegas because the Raiders are one of the worst bad teams in a very long time. I mean, the Jets are up there right now, but like the Raiders putting on a clinic in shit right now. 34-10 is the final of this game. So yes, the Giants, they who they believe they have their quarterback. Although, interestingly enough, Ian Rappaport reported on Sunday morning that the Giants are evaluating all options with their draft, including quarterback. This makes it a little easier because the Raiders are pretty close to locked in for the number one pick and likely Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but that's where we're heading. And the Giants now will look ahead at 3-13 and pretty much out of the number one pick mix. Your thoughts on this game?
I want to start, I think, after the game with something that troubled me very deeply and probably speaks to exactly why this team is the way that they are. Abdul Carter tweeted something like a picture of himself on the field, and it was like, great game, got to get me that defensive rookie of the year honors. And it's like, is that really what we're thinking about right now? And do we think that should even be in the purview? Like, is that even possible? Or is he the front runner for defensive rookie of the year at this point?
Well, that's interesting. Justin, can you check out the odds for defensive rookie of the year? Yeah, I mean, he's been, if anything, he's been a huge red flag and a disappointment in year run for his off the field issues and his getting benched multiple times. But I think that's also, we've been doing this long enough, and you've covered these teams too, right, Connor, where it's like the teams that are completely out of it, a lot of these guys shift to getting my stats and just trying to, like, you lose that team focus and typically losses mount as a result, but unless you're playing the Raiders.
Right. And I just think it was impossible for the Giants to lose this game. Jackson Dart looked good. I mean, he only threw 8 incompletions, ran for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Geno Smith was booed from the second he walked on the field and was eventually replaced by Kenny Pickett.
I mean, as if this is Geno's fault. Right. I know he's not a solution, but come on now.
Yeah, I think things have just gotten dark and uncomfortable there. Nice game from Michael Mayer, though. He's kind of been relegated to that 12 personnel, like dual tight end guy, but we forget he was a second round pick a couple of years ago. And so he had a nice game. I mean, they do have they have guys, the Raiders. I just don't understand how it got so bad so quickly. I don't know. It's like
it's a very Raiders scenario that we find out that Mayer, we know he's a good tight end, but like the minute Brock Bowers is ripped off the active roster for this game because they are openly tanking, then they have another tight end that's really good. So your best position is one where one is simply made redundant on a week-to-week basis by the other, like versus stacking strength at various positions. I don't like this is not on Geno Smith entirely, but I have had it with I am not going to, if Connor doesn't want the Chiefs to move to Topeka, I am not going to sit through an offseason where some organization tries to peddle me with Geno Smith as their starting quarterback. He has regressed. He is a backup quarterback and nothing more in my mind ever again until proven vastly wrong. I'm not trying to say anything personally about him, but I am exhausted with the coverage of Geno Smith over the past couple of years. And you've got to be honest, he has been one of the worst professional quarterbacks in the entire NFL this season. And a lot of these games and the turnovers do trace back to Geno Smith. And I don't hear a lot from him or anyone else owning that inside that organization. This is a disastrous team.
Members of the football cognoscenti have been insufferable about Geno Smith in recent years, pumping him up to be more than he is. But I think like this year is unfair to bury him entirely either. Like he's better than this quarterback, but he's also not maybe the guy that people were trying to position him as some type of true franchise quarterback either. And that's how he got paid on his previous contract. That said, I think he now will shift into his the Jameis Winston portion of his career, or the Russell Wilson portion of his career, best case scenario, where maybe he signs as a number 2 and ends up starting games. But I think the days of getting signed to be a starter could be numbered. And just so you know, the Raiders 2-14, they've lost 10 straight, and they're a full game clear of everyone. And they have the Chiefs at home in Week 18. The Chiefs have the opportunity to do something very funny, which is somehow lose that game. And that would be smart because the Raiders desperately need a quarterback, as we're talking about. And if you could somehow bang the Raiders out of the number 1 overall pick by tanking yourself at an even higher level, because you'd like to move up as well on the draft board, just like think about it, Andy Reid. Think about what you can do in Week 18. Yeah. All right. Where are we at on the defensive Rookie of the Year odds, Justin?
Yeah, so Carson Schwessinger is a strong, heavy, haven't seen a strong favorite this strong in a while, favorite at -600. Then you got Nick Emanwari, the Seahawks safety, plus 700, a.k.a. 7-1. James Pierce Jr. of the Falcons, 7-1. And then Abdul Carter is next, so he's 4th. Those guys are 7-1. He's 100-1 to win Rookie of the Year. He's not going to win it.
In this game, like he created a neutral zone infraction that took a sack off the board from someone else. Like, why are we tweeting about?
He had a neutral zone infraction that wiped out a pick 6 last week.
Yeah, I mean, like, why are we talking about
this? He's having a tremendous rookie campaign.
Why are we talking about this? Good God.
Ridiculous. Hey, there you go, Mark. You got Carson there as well. You might not get the sack record, but there are pieces in Cleveland.
He is like DNA Clay Matthews. I'm telling you that. Like, this is a good player.
Oh, baby boy. All right. Toilet bowl in the rear view. Let's move to Nashville, where the Saints and Titans did battle. Entertaining affair, where Tyler Shuck continued to impress. Throws a 10-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Austin Jr. with 6:22 left to put the Saints ahead to stay. They came back from 13 down to beat the Titans 34-26. Shuck is now 5-3 as a starter. The Saints have won 4 straight, up to 6-10, and he outplayed Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Shuck, 22 of 27, career best 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, passer rating of 142.7. We'll get to you, boy, Justin, because I know Cam Ward I saw some comments out there that he made plays as well in this game. But I do think one of the big pleasant surprises of this season has been Tyler Shuck and the Saints believing they might have their guy, and he continued to build on that on Sunday.
Yeah, I think we can take the Saints out of the QB market in this upcoming draft. Maybe they get somebody veteran status in free agency, but Tyler Shuck's old enough to be a veteran anyway. Haha, no, just kidding. No, Tyler Shuck was great in this game. And the Saints struggled in the first half. The Titans took their first double-digit lead into halftime since week 1 of last season, so a long time there. And the Saints erased it and overcame it in the second half, outscoring the Titans 24-6 over the final 2 frames. So that was a nice performance by Shuck. I don't think it's a coincidence that once they got the run game going in the second half, the pass game got going as well. And he was, their fourth quarter was uber productive, like 250 yards of total offense in the fourth quarter, which I think outdid what they had accomplished in the first 3 quarters. So he looked great. I will say context matters a little bit. This Titans secondary might be the worst collection of secondary players a team has fielded this year. Multiple guys signed off the street in the last month, practice squad, elevations, and the like. So it's not like he was doing it against great competition, but he was also missing a bunch of starters himself. Obviously, we know Alvin Kamara is not there, but beyond Chris Olave, they had guys elevated from the practice squad playing receiver for the Saints as well, and they just dusted the Titans defense. And he looked good. I mean, he's going to be their guy, at least for the next year or two. And Kellen Moore, I'm impressed with him too.
Here's Kellen Moore on his quarterback, Ellen Moore.
Just an awesome game. The composure, navigate some stuff early, big play after big play. He's obviously having a special season. I know he doesn't start the season as a starter, but just the way he's handled himself through this whole journey, I think really, really special. And I think obviously the on the field speaks for itself.
Pretty wild development if you come out of this as the Saints after what we were thinking in August, that you don't need a quarterback in this draft. That is a pretty wild development. I have been watching Cam Ward on these Sundays more and more. And like, I know, Justin, I know that you, no matter what, you're going to root for him. I see him making plays every week. There was an incredible moment in this game, though, where Chase Young absolutely devastated Cam Ward, but also grabbed the ball away from him in midair and ran for a touchdown. It's not even Cam Ward's fault, but it was one of the wildest physical acts that I saw in a month. Yeah. If not multiple months.
Phenomenal play by Chase Young, who's Cam Ward's running away from a different Saints defender, who's rolling out to his left and then spins back to his right and doesn't see Chase Young coming around the edge. And Cam Ward's holding the ball pretty loosely out here because he's wants to find somebody downfield and throw it. And Chase Young just took it out of his hand and then raced to the end zone. So that was an incredible defensive play. I don't think there's not much more you can ask of Cam Ward. Maybe keep two hands on the ball, but even then it wasn't like he was in a muddy pocket. He was scrambling around the backfield.
He made some throws today, though. He keeps doing that week after week.
He had some of the most incredible throws I've personally seen a Titans quarterback make since Steve McNair in the Super Bowl era, MVP season Steve McNair. Just the way that he rolls outside the pocket and launches it 30 yards down the field to a practice squad receiver in Mason Kinsey, and it's right in the hip pocket with the defender right there and just can't even get a hand close to the ball. He made one play on third down where he navigated back and forth in the pocket and stepped up and delivered a dart for a contested catch over the middle. And his best play, maybe it wasn't his best play. Unfortunately, it didn't count. It was a 4th and 10 where he's literally diving forward and falling to the ground and sidearms it out to Tajay Spears, who picks up the first down. But upon review, Cam Ward's knee was down by a hair, so the play didn't count. But I think Cam Ward made some of his best plays of the season in this game. He also had a number of plays that he would want back. It was a mixed bag. But that Saints defense has been playing really well lately. Alontae Taylor had 4 pass breakups today. It was just everywhere. And this Saints team has stuff to build on, and I think the Titans do too. So it's a good place for both teams to be at right now.
There you go. Both teams going to pick in the top 10 most likely in April, and neither of them will be in the market for a quarterback, at least in the first round, you would think. Could even trade out of the pick. Options when you have your quarterback on your roster. All right, let's finish this up with 2 more quickies. First in Cincinnati. The Bengals doing what we knew the Bengals would do. Close strong, especially against bad teams. Jamar Chase caught 2 touchdown passes from Joe Burrow. Burrow threw for 305 yards. Bengals beat up the terrible Cardinals. Get that coach out of there, too. Gannon, 37-14. Chase finished with 7 catches for 60 yards and became the first player in NFL history with at least 80 receptions, 1,000 receiving yards, and 7 touchdown catches in each of his first 5 seasons. Pretty impressive when you think about how much time Burrow missed. But, of course, Flacco kept the offense afloat for a while there as well. So the Bengals, the only decision left now is, do you play Joe Burrow in Week 18? He wants to play. You want to keep Joe happy. He gave his offensive line fossils as a gift, which I'm sure they were probably privately pissed about.
I think that probably had mixed reaction behind closed doors. Yeah.
What's the price tag on this? Because I've gone through this with employers in the past where it's here's a $25 gift card to, a Golden Corral. And it's can I just have $25? And if you're going to buy me a $50,000 fossil, can I just put that in the S&P and make that the college savings for my child instead of, just toting around a dinosaur fossil? Yeah.
Can I just get a Hummer like Brock Purdy?
Right. Yeah. And then you got to bring it home to your wag and be hey, where do you want to put this? Nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one, but he's increasingly a weird guy. I wonder, it did cross my mind, is Burrow the next Aaron Rodgers, where he's just going to get increasingly out there as he gets deeper into his career. But I'd be fine having him as my quarterback. One more note on this game. The Cardinals are a joke, but hey, if you're out there and you had Trey McBride on your fantasy team like I did, what a ride we had. I know he came up small for us last week if you were in the semifinals, but if you made it to the money round this week in your fantasy leagues, 10 catches this game, he finishes, he's up to 119 on the season. Trey McBride, the tight end of the Cardinals. I know it's probably under the radar for a lot of people because it's the Cardinals, and most people stopped caring about him about 3 months ago, if at all. But he has 119 catches this year, and he also has 11 touchdowns, and he's closing in on 1,200 yards receiving. It's one of the best seasons ever by a tight end. So, and what might be the last Jonathan Gannon sound clip in the history of this show, here he is on his tight end.
And I'm proud of him. He shows up to work every day and battles, and he's one of the best players out there. You know what I mean? And that's really cool. I'm down about the team, and I know he's down about the team, but I don't want to overlook that. He's had a fantastic year.
All right. Good for you, Trey McBride. Let's finish up with Cowboys, Commanders. Another Christmas Day nightmare for the NFL. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys, another team that wants to at least finish strong, and they did get off their losing streak in this game. Final score, Cowboys 30, Commanders 23, with Dak Prescott throwing for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Commanders continue their own private Tankopolis. They are now 4-12 on the season and slotted right now to pick 7th in the draft. Thoughts on this game quickly, Mark?
I mean, I think it went as you'd expect. You're dealing with Josh Johnson for the against the Commanders here. I mean, they feel dead to me. They are a mess on defense, and
They
Prescott,
feel dead to you? I think it's pretty safe to say that the Commanders are dead. Yes.
They are a corpse.
Yes.
To the point where I know Dan Quinn is beloved by all these people. Like, are we sure he's coming back? I think we are, but like, it's just like they've no-showed for 7 of the last 8 or 9 weeks. It's been one of the roughest watches around the league, where I don't think the Cowboys have given up. I don't.
I think he gets the pass. I think he gets the pass because of the quarterback, but you're right. It can't be as great as it was last year. It was every bit as bad this year. By the way, quickly into the booth. This is a trope now. When guys in the booth want to look cool on Christmas, they keep on dressing up in, like, I think it's supposed to be a Santa look, but they just look like Mrs. Claus.
Right.
So here's now Nate Burleson looking like Santa's wife.
Yeah.
From the neck down. So
yeah, there's a feminine element.
Check it out
to
on
that.
YouTube if you dare, or like maybe the leader of the elves. I don't know. Definitely
and they
not.
gave your man my very own podcast.
They gave your man his very own Santa costume, but it's not like, I'm not thinking Santa when I look at it.
Well,
And I
look
think,
also like poor
No
Iron
doubt
Eagle.
about it. No doubt about it.
Poor Iron Eagle next to him, just in a gentleman's suit, trying to announce a game, and you've got this act
right.
unfurling next to him.
And I would imagine Legend, that's the rap moniker of Gravedigger. Check out the Patreon show on Fridays if you haven't yet. You're in your own little beef, like Tupac, Biggie beef with Nate Burleson's past rapping as New Balance. You have, when he's dressed up like this, you got to be thinking to yourself, like, I look way more hard out here in the streets, right?
Totally. And actually, my parents got me a Christmas ornament for this year. My mom does this thing every year where she gets me a Christmas ornament that's based on something that happened in the year.
I love Party Elise.
And this year's was me as a rapper, Legend. It's Legend as a Christmas ornament, and it's fantastic. And my parents also got me a hoodie that just says Legend on it. So maybe
Wow,
for the
that's
next
great.
Patreon
I love it.
show.
I love it. You're giving us merch ideas. Check out the exclusive merchandise of Heed the Call that's available right now. And shout out to Party Elise and Party Jay and the whole Graver family here during the holidays. And if you are not aware, Justin Graver, after Super Bowl 60 on our Super Bowl recap, will end the episode and our season by doing a full rap like Billy Joel style about the season that was. And if you don't get the reference, look it up, Justin. We didn't start the fire. That's what we're looking for.
I know the song.
Mm-hmm.
Just not the lyrics.
Well, that would be the reference then, the song.
Right.
But we're excited for it, and I know everyone else is as well. All right, let's get out of here. That is the week that was. We will be back Monday night with a recap of Monday Night Football, latest in the news, and of course the power rankings. We only got 2 of those left, I believe. Maybe 1 left? I don't know. Let's just make it count, whatever it is. The calendar, the days are flying by. So make sure you're there for that. And until then, do what you must. Heed the call.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than just Peyton Manning. I'm also motivating Manning. When I say insurance, you say financial services. Insurance.
Financial services.
Insurance.
Financial services.
Now when I say nationwide, you say is both. Nationwide.
Is both.
Nationwide.
Is both.
For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.